News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults. So use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000. 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370 WOCA.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Robin, you and I have been doing radio for a very, very long time. But do you remember when we first started? I remember wondering, gosh, how am I going to do this? I got to get on the air, and I got to learn all these buttons, and I got to learn what to say. Yeah. I was a little worried, right?
Yes.
The guy who was teaching me, though, young guy, I guess I was young too, and he said to me, well, don't worry about it too much. It's not brain surgery. It's not as if a patient is going to die if you don't get it right. And it was great words of wisdom, because indeed, nobody dies when I make a mistake on radio. And all these years later, I still make mistakes on radio, right?
Me too.
But that doesn't mean I don't worry anymore. I mean, I worry about these little things that we do on the show. But you know what's even bigger than that? On Hank Whittier's show, the Veterans Show, about an hour ago, he did such a wonderful job interviewing this young man who had been wounded in Afghanistan. The young man told this story of how, and forgive me for not knowing the right military term, but a bullet, or a large bullet, went clearly through his body, tore through an artery, tore through his intestines, and I believe severed his spine. I think is what he said. I don't want to say something wrong, but the reason I'm saying that in conjunction with what we're about to talk about is because the young man's father was in the room.
Yes, he was.
I have a son, 27. You have a son, 30 something, right? We all went. I worry about my son driving to work. And my mother used to tell me, I guess my father did too, that it doesn't stop. It doesn't matter how old the kids get, you're always going to worry, right? If you love them, I suppose.
Yes.
Right? And yet, wouldn't it be nice to not worry? It's almost like you know what? I'm worried about not worrying.
Yeah. Because
I'm afraid if I stop worrying, things bad are going to happen. Like they won't happen while you're worrying for some reason. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
So let's talk to Dr. H. Michael Zal about this. He has a list of credentials. Among them, he's a psychiatrist. That's a good one to start with. He is the recipient of the Albert Einstein Healthcare Foundation Physicians Award for Excellence. Just having the word Albert Einstein in whatever you won, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
He's a clinical professor in the Department of Psychiatry at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. He's editor-in-chief of the Journal of the Pennsylvania Osteopathic Association, and his book is called 10 Steps to Relieve Anxiety, Refocus, Relax, and Enjoy Life. So let's talk to him. He probably already picked up from what we said that maybe superstition is even part of our worry sometimes, which makes no sense at all if you think about it logically. Dr. Zal, good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm here in Florida, in Delray.
Oh, okay, in Delray. All right, so you're not worried about the snow?
Thank goodness.
So, in my intro, I tried to cover some of the things that I personally have worried about in my life, and I probably hit on things that are universal for most people. But I'm guessing it runs the gamut. If there was a worryometer on us, we'd probably see the needle in different points, wouldn't we?
Well, I think worry is one of the hardest of the cardinal symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder to really cure or reduce 100%. So the worry is not odd or make you a weakling or make you really tell me that there's something grossly wrong with you. Because anxiety, we really think it's a biological illness. It runs in families, and we even think that there's a worry gene.
So anxiety and worry are clinically considered two different things?
Well, it depends. Stress can give us anxiety, and they have the same symptoms as what we're talking about in the book was generalized anxiety disorder. With generalized anxiety disorder, the people have some sort of anxiety all of their life, not just because something difficult happened last Tuesday or because you have a son or daughter that had an accident, you're concerned about them.
Yeah.
These are people that are worried all their life about many different things.
If people don't recognize the warning signs that anxiety may cause, can that person cause themselves to have a heart attack and die?
No, anxiety really never kills anybody. That's unless you already have a heart condition, and that's a different situation. But if you're a healthy, normal person and you're anxious, you're not going to die from it. I always say to my patients, anxious people sometimes think, oh my God, I'm going crazy, I'm going to die. But that's only your mind's way of saying, hey guy, you're anxious. And I think if you can interpret it that way, it may be a little bit easier to deal with because you're kind of reducing the cycle of fear.
Oh, wow. That almost sounds like a trick Robin and I use. And let me explain why I say that. Robin and I do performances on stage. Performances on stage is way different for us anyway than doing radio. Radio, we're not nervous anymore. We've done this forever. We do it every day. But if there's What's that?
Because you've done it a while, you're used to it.
Yeah, so let me tell you how I can relate to what you just said. When we go on a stage, we have stage fright prior to it. And the way we handle that is we tell ourselves this is a normal part of the process. This is just part of going on stage. You're going to be nervous. It goes away, so don't worry about it. So even though we're worrying, we're telling ourselves not to worry.
Exactly, but in a way, that's what we call good anxiety. If you get anxious ahead of time, when you're giving a speech or when you're going on stage or even when you're taking a test, that's helpful because you're getting the anxiety out and it's over. The people that I'm talking about in the book would have some sort of anxiety every day of their life at some level, maybe a very low level, like low level. But what you're talking about is a good kind of anxiety.
So tell me about some of the people in the book. Can we pick on one? Just pick one story out of the book to give us a sample idea of what else is in the book.
Sure.
Okay.
You want me to pick a story?
Yeah. You pick one. I'm looking at Dan's story right now, or there's one here, Chelsea's story. Wow, two people we know.
Wow.
we don't know them, but
yeah.
Right here in the studio we got a Dan and a Chelsea.
Yeah.
Could you tell me what chapter it is? Because I don't.
Chelsea's story. I'll tell you that one. It's on page 154. It says her.
Chelsea was a young woman who had a dysfunctional family.
Okay. All right, I didn't mean to throw you a curve right there, Doctor.
Yeah, you did, because I have to go through the time 154. Yes, I see it. Okay. Chelsea, in one of the chapters at the end of the book, where I have specialist situations, okay? And she's in a chapter called Anxiety and Adult Attention Deficit Disorder.
Oh, okay.
Is that the one you want me to talk about?
Yes, I was interested in that one.
Okay. There are people who have attention deficit disorder who feel to themselves that they're always anxious and may appear to the world that they're anxious because they're very often hyperactive and they have low self-esteem and they avoid things and they may get very nervous when they have to do something. But that's not a true anxiety disorder like generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder has other symptoms, such as the avoidance behavior, the excessive worry, the physical symptoms. But some people can have both. So it's very important when you talk to someone who has these various symptoms that you try to differentiate. Do they have attention deficit disorder, or do they have anxiety, generalized anxiety, or do they have both?
Okay.
I treat it with adult attention deficits. I'm an adult psychiatrist.
Okay. So if I came to you and I told you that I feel like I've got worry that's a little bit more than I've ever experienced, in to a point where it's actually interfering with what I need to be doing. I'm distracted by my own thoughts. I'm distracted by my own anxiety. How do you dig deeper so you know what's going on? And if you could maybe try to create a scenario that we can follow, what do you tell me to do?
Well, the first thing I do is I try to get a handle on what's really going on. And I may sometimes be able to get a clue by just asking you one question. And the question is, have you been nervous all of your life? If you tell me yes to that question, then I'm going to at least rule in generalized anxiety disorder. If you tell me no, then I'm going to suspect that it's situational. And then I'll try to tease out what's going on from there.
Okay. Now let's take somebody famous so we all know about him. Woody Allen, for example. He at least the stereotype of Woody Allen. I don't know that he's still this way. He's got a few years on him now, but he always appeared very nervous.
Although I don't know for sure, I don't want to make a diagnosis of Woody Allen, but in general, I would say probably he does have generalized anxiety disorder as well as other problems, probably, because he probably has the other cardinal symptoms that go along with the nervousness and the tension, and that's the unrealistic worry, the avoidance behavior, and the physical symptoms. These are people who constantly go to the doctor and say, oh, this hurts, that hurts, something is wrong here, I must be having a heart attack, blah, 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 and they do a whole workup and find nothing, you know?
Uh-huh.
2 weeks or a month later, with a new set of symptoms, vague symptoms that make no sense. And the doctor hopefully will also ask them about their mental life, their emotional status, to see whether it can't rule in generalized anxiety disorder.
Right. Dr. H. Michael Zal is our guest. His book is called 10 Steps to Relieve Anxiety, Refocus, Relax, and Enjoy Life. And I went to step number 1, and it simply says stop. And first I want to tell you this, that when my car needs new tires, I have to go to the tire store, and I am forced to wait for my car to be done. And I sit in this little tiny area where they have coffee and magazines and a TV, and I love it because it forces me. Because I am a workaholic, I guess, in a way. So I feel like, wow, I have a great excuse. I can just sit here and do nothing. And it's a very, very, so I'm kind of relating to the word stop with that every now and then experience.
You got it. That's exactly what stop means. Stop means forcing yourself to give yourself a little time off to recoup, to slow down and gain a perspective. A lot of anxious people feel they have to be busy all the time, and they keep running. I always say it's like, that rabbit with the battery in their back.
Right.
Give yourself permission to relax, and don't let the symptoms of anxiety control you. Try to take charge of them. And one way is to stop and relax and force yourself to get a perspective.
And how? But okay, so let me be in your office just for a second. Let me be a patient. Just pretend. Okay. So you tell me to do that, and I say, yeah, but unless my tires need to be changed, I'm not going to be able to do that on my own. I'm going to need somebody to force me to go on a cruise or something because I'm stuck. I can't do anything. How do
it have to be as drastic as that? It could be simple things.
Okay.
It could be sitting in your car for 2 minutes before you go into the house after you've come home from work, just to give yourself a few minutes to decompress. It could be making sure that every day you give yourself a lunch break, even if it's for a half an hour. It could be making sure that even if you have young children, that you give you and your spouse perhaps a half an hour before you go to sleep just to talk and relax and listen to music or something like that. It doesn't have to be a massive overhaul of your life. It just has to be a few minutes to put things in perspective, take a deep breath, let it out slowly, and kind of relax.
All right, good information, and there's a lot more in the book. I have a copy of the book. I'd like to give it away. If you want it, call me. I'll leave it here at their station for you. It's called 10 Steps to Relieve Anxiety. H. Michael Zal, or Zal, Z-A-L, is the author, our guest right now. Doctor, before we say goodbye, give us some information how the rest of us can go buy the book. Do you have a website?
The book is available at all bookstores, including Barnes & Noble. It's on the Barnes & Noble website. It's on the Amazon.com. It's on Kindle, and it's on the Nook.
Okay, excellent. Let me give this one away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
This is Linda. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Linda. And you know we're at the Paddock Mall, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Linda. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Doctor, thank you for being on the air with us today, and stay warm here in Florida.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good stuff. All right, we'll take a little break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866